plenty of time ahead to doing the best moves possible that they can conceive of. So now I hope we are very much live. Let me go to YouTube. Yeah, if I get this message via Facebook, normally means I am live. Normally means I just wanted to make sure view channel. I don't know just yet. I think I should be. I think I should be. And Facebook should be also in order here. Come on. Okay, cool. I think I am. If I get this funny message with the Facebook and stuff, I think I'm live. Okay. Where were we? I hope the sound is okay. Do I need to speak closer to the mic? Okay, no. Okay, let's just keep this distance now. Right, cool. Where were we? So we're streaming on Leeches, aren't we? I think we're on Leeches. Yes, we are. I think I hope I put in the title that we do stream via Leeches. Right, so let's go for black here now. We're not using Evalba or the engine during the live game, but sparingly when the situation is really unbearable from a conceptual point of view and you need to figure out a way through and you can't see it with your human means. So now I'd say important to castle short for Magnus. I'm not sure. I mean, this kind of rook c8 things, this kind of e5, probably they could be employed, but I think king safety is very important now. So I would personally consider castle short. You can see in the master's database there is nothing here at this stage, but my human understanding would be just simply castle the king and take it from there. King safety can't be ignored. Even if you're Magnus Castle or the best on the planet, you really need to consider keeping your king safe. So we're going to be focusing on this one. I think Pragg has a very good record on playing Magnus. I don't know how many games they play, but definitely, if I remember exactly, I think there is at least 3 victories that Pragg had against Magnus. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. You can Google it or something and give me the correct numbers in all their meetings until now. How many times did Magnus win? How many times did Pragg score against Magnus Carlsen? If you guys have this information, please type it in. I want to know. Just let's refresh our memory. So Magnus to play, 1 hour 26 on his clock, 1 hour for Pragg. More space for white, more space, more options. The e6 is seriously under pressure, so something's going to happen with the e6. Hello, Simpson. Dude, I got to tell you something. I have a feeling that Pragg is actually close to score another victory if he keeps up the pressure. I don't think he's doing worse here with white. On the contrary, I think he's doing better than black here. And he's attacking. He's attacking. He's fully developed. He got the rook on the d file. If you strictly, so let's assume hypothetically, let's say I would bet money on this one. Looking at the current position now, bloody hell, I think I would place my money on Pragg on this one now. If the position was different, if I am allowed to say that, if the position was different, I would have put my money on Magnus. But now looking at what I'm seeing in front of my eyes, it's still too early to call it now. It's still a bit too early perhaps, but bloody hell, I think I put my money on Pragg, on the young super GM from India. I would put my money on Pragg on this particular game here. I mean, if you're talking about making a profit, if you're talking about making a profit on placing money bets on Super Grandmasters playing, I mean, just look at this position here. It's not, I mean, look, this is not finished, okay? This is just not finished. Far from finished. There is 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours 26. to, you know, I mean, it's a lot of it's a lot of happening, a lot of happening. Mind you, guys. I mean, the more you going towards the end of the game, people, human players, due to huge psychological charge, they are prone to making mistakes and blunders. It's the nature of the game. If you are a machine, probably you're gonna win or you're gonna draw. But if you are a human, situation will get really, really, really tense. This is move 15. This is just move number 15 here. Carlsen needs to decide. My understanding would be you should be castling the king because it's the safest stuff for your guy to do. You could try something else, but king shouldn't be where they currently are on the e file. I think you want to put a king on the g, and then you take it from there. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, guys, don't forget to type it in and tell me how many games did Pragg win against Magnus in all their meetings up to this moment. So that will be the main emphasis in our stream this afternoon, this evening. By the way, it's like 5:30, so to speak. Okay, 23 to 6 UK time at the minute now. Of course, if you are on other countries and stuff, the time is slightly different. I hope it's not 4 a.m. where you are, guys. If it's 4 a.m., I'm feeling guilty because you're being awake. Right, and of course we're going to be looking at Ding Diren and Firouzja and stuff. So I've highlighted my candidate moves here for Magnus. We're going to come back and see if he really did one of those. I don't know which one do you guys favor here. Again, feel free to anticipate the best moves. Don't use the engine, use just your understanding because that's the best tool to improving your calculation, your understanding, and your chess overall. Just keep it raw, keep it human, you know, just don't put the engine on. Let's go to Ding and Fabi here. What's going on? Whose turn is it? Every single time I look at a position, I automatically start to count the material. And then I'm looking at the king safety. So that's my two main criteria. You give me a position, first thing ever I'm doing, oh, let me count the pieces. And I start look pawns, 3, 4, 7, 4, 3, 7. Okay, pawn wise, cool. 3 minus, 2 minus versus 2 minus. Now 2 minor pieces, 2 minor pieces. Cool. Queen's being attacked with tempo. So Queen's got to move. Ding being with the white pieces here. Is black worse here? Well, there's a double pawn here. I'm telling you that. I did do the thing that you asked me to. All right. All right. So, 2 double pawns on the C file. That's not maybe very good, but there is no light square white bishop here. So there is a dark square bishop though. So that's kind of a little bit dangerous and attacks the queen. So this is a move with tempo. This is a move with tempo. He moved the queen away from the danger. I guess, is this thing playable? I know it's in hindsight now. Of course, it's white's turn to play, but I'm just naturally inquiring if c5 is playable. I guess it might be. I guess it might be next turn. I guess. Now, if you grab here, question is if is Ding going to take with C or is Ding going to take with a bishop? I think it's going to take with a bishop, right? To like similarly creating a bishop looking over to G2 square. These bishops are really dangerous. And this guy probably will be kicked away sooner or later. It's a very sharp position. I think these are very sharp games. Ladies and gents, this afternoon we have very sharp games. Let me modify the screen a bit. Just try to get myself a better view of the games here. Alrighty. Alright. What's this? Nakamura playing with the white. Firouzja Alireza with black pieces. Okay, white to play. Knight on pre. But this guy is a little bit attacked by the bishop, currently defended by the queen. But I guess if you move the knight successfully, you might be exerting double pressure on the knight. Where do you get this knight? I don't know. Can you play d3? Asking for a friend. Can you do knight d3? Should you do knight d3? I can see Nakamura's clock, so I guess he gotta decide what to do. Is knight d3 an option here? Well, I think it kind of is. Knight d3, bishop takes, maybe queen takes. I don't know. Knight b4? Maybe. Maybe. It's very sharp. Knight d3 just to move the knight to safety. Unless there is some other crazy tactics I'm not aware of. I guess it's too wild to do this and this. Knight a6. I mean, they're not going to be staying, but can you just dream about playing knight a6, knight c7? Well, I guess you can dream pretty much about anything. So that might be an option. Knight a6, knight c7. Knight a6, knight c7. Okay. I mean, the minute you're moving the white knight away, there is double attack on this guy here. Look at this, guys. So why the hell not? As long as you threaten like the knight on c6 and then you threaten the fork on c7, why not? If you don't blunder pieces, if there is no other stuff that I'm missing, I guess I would definitely consider. Again, I don't know what's the absolute best move to play here, but I'm just voicing my opinions as a human. Back to Magnus and Pragg. Did Magnus play anything whatsoever? After rook a d1 being played by Pragg, aligning the rook with the white queen, I don't see nothing. Thank you, Simpson, for your idea. I guess you're talking about this position here. I very quickly went back to Nakamura and Ali Reza just to highlight the idea that me and Simpson kind of think about playing knight a6 here if we were to move the white pieces ourselves. Probably knight a6, multi-purpose thing, double attack on the knight and potential over fork on c7. So guys, tell me who you're rooting for. That's a very interesting stuff to see. So Magnus chose to play today, Simpson. He chose to play a Sicilian Khan variation with a6. Move 15. I mean, look at this. e4, c5, knight f3, e6, d4, cd, knight d4, a6, bishop d3, queen c7. So the a6 means the Khan variation. Later on, he played knight b d7. Okay. All right. Oopsie. Let's go back to the actual position. Magnus didn't decide to play anything. He's still considering. By the way, Simpson, is the sound nice and clear? I guess the sound is okay. If you confirm is okay, I'm cool with that. Yeah, he hasn't castle and he should castle in my opinion. Magnus should castle. I'm not telling Magnus what to do. I will never dare saying that. Thank you, Simpson. Appreciate a lot, buddy. I would never tell Magnus what to do. He doesn't need my advice in the whole eternity, but if I were black, I would just bloody castle straight away. Before, hey, rook c8. Okay, I did highlight rook c8, mind you guys. I did say rook c8 to be played. But I think castling would have been cool for king safety considering. So, okay. Never, ever a bad idea to get the rook on an open or semi-open file. But really, king shouldn't be there. Black king shouldn't be there. He should castle. Well, he should. But now it's Pragg's turn. So, do you know something? White is on the attack. White is on the initiative. Okay, there is a positioning of the white king. Perhaps at some point Pragg would be compelled to waste another tempo moving the white king to safety. Probably that's going to happen. I'm not sure if it's going to happen now. I'm not sure that's going to be right now. But just saying, I would personally feel that my king on h1 would be slightly safer. But let's just take it step by step and see what we could do here. Would you guys take on e6? Let me just highlight actually. Let me just highlight a couple of things here. Would you guys take on e6? Would you guys move king h1? Again, no engine involved. We want to keep it human and raw as it is. Looking at the candidate moves. Occasionally we could double check with the Almighty about the best things to play, but so let me highlight the candidate moves here. So let's imagine I am Pragg playing against almost infallible Magnus. Almost infallible because all human beings are fallible. So this is our imperfect nature. You can't, I mean, you can struggle, fight to perfection, but you are very much fallible. So king h1, f takes e6. What is very much attractive here? I wouldn't take on f6 because I'm feeling like I'm helping black to get a bishop onto this diagonal, so I wouldn't take on f6. But these are the two moves that I've already highlighted with red. That's what I would consider doing. What else? Am I happy with the rook on f-file? I think I'm happy. I would be even happier if I took on e6, because I'm kind of like opening the f-file. So, okay. Yeah, I think I'm very much attracted about f takes e6. Anything else I would consider here? Now, preemptively, I need to think about black playing e5 at some point, I guess. e5. Do I have to worry about that one? Not really. I've got knight b3, I got knight f3. Heck, there's a couple of things. So, okay, knight is relatively cool to be moved one more time. fe6. Okay. That's my first candidate move. Let me know, guys, if you have a different tactic here, a different brutal tactic to play if you were Pragnananda versus Carlsen. By the way, guys, have you found how many times did Pragg beat Magnus? I think he's got quite a nice record. I think he got a nice record. 2-3 times at least. If memory serves well, I think he beat him like 3 times at least. So that wouldn't be the first time. That wouldn't be the first time. I mean, I'm sure Magnus would like to teach the young men a lesson, but I'm not sure who's going to teach who a lesson here. Exciting, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, I hope this coffee will do for the remainder of the event. That's a black coffee, no sugar, no nothing. I hope it'll help. Okay. Well, Pragg takes his time. 56 minutes. Doesn't necessarily look like a draw now. I think it's a lot of moves to play here. Only move number 15, mind you, guys. Okay, is there anything stronger here for white to play? Is there any other readjustments, preparations? Is there something I'm missing? Or, yeah, I mean one of these two. Shall we go, guys, to... Shall we go to Dingley Ren and Fabi? Let me know if you have a particular game you want to look at, guys. Just let me know. If you're rooting for someone especially. Fabi and Ding. Best chess on the planet at the minute right now at Norway Chess. Of course. Fabi didn't move nothing. Absolutely nothing. Would you think about developing the knight on f, which currently is on the back rank, not very happy? Would you play knight g3? Would you play knight d2 as a natural replacement? Oops, if there is any... Hold on a sec. Knight e2, if this guy takes... Yeah, but this guy's... Yeah, but that's a poisonous guy. Maybe. Maybe. You can think about all sorts of tactics here. You bloody could. Knight e2. Knight g3. Is there a problem with knight g3? I don't think there's a problem. Knight g3, knight f5? Knight g3. No. I mean, you know, just let's make it messy. Knight g3. If they take, you're gonna take with a knight. I would assume. You can play the knight f5. That's interesting. You gotta do something. You don't need to worry too much about a b2. Anyway, you have the rook. Black's gonna push c5, isn't it? So you play knight g3, but black is gonna push c6 to c5. That's something. So you gotta think about that one too. Taking on d5, so I'm just simply expressing all my opinion, all my ideas here. Taking on d5, it feels like you're making a service to black, because black gonna take back with a bishop, right? It feels like you're helping your opponent. So I'm a bit hesitant to take on d5. Knight g3. I would play knight g3. But after c5, what do you do? Really, what do you do? Bishop e3. Can they push one more time? They kind of like cannot. Because you're gonna win the pawn, after all. I'm oscillating in between. Let me just highlight the candidate moves I'm considering. Knight g3, taking here, but I'm not fully convinced. I'm not fully convinced. There may be some others. The reason I'm looking to do something with the knight on the f1 is because I can't tolerate having pieces on the back rank. I mean, it makes me feel sick if I don't get the pieces to do something. Knight has to participate. All the minor pieces have to be involved in the war effort, so to speak. So they gotta be active. Okay. Moving towards the next game. Hikaru, white, Firouzja, black. Hey, what did he play last time, dudes? What did we say? Was it here? Give me a sec. Let me just... Wait a minute. We were here. Yes, knight d3. I did say knight d3. Those of you that were visiting at that particular moment in time, I did say knight d3, but I also said knight a6. Anyway, he went for knight d3, which reveals double attack on the knight from the bishop and from the rook. Oh, why is my speakers off? Oh my god. Okay, I put the speakers on now. Oh boy, so if there was anything I couldn't have heard nothing. Sorry guys, I just realized my speakers were completely off. Oh, Christ. Okay, don't matter. Okay, fine. If Simpson confirmed the sound was okay, the mic was working, that's fine. So double attack on the knight. Bishop now opposes the other bishop. Removing the king's guardian. Bishop takes and rook takes. Quite a lot of power. Queen to c2. Double attack on the knight on c6. Rook e6 retreats, defense. Knight f4 attacks the rook, the defender of the knight. Rook has to go to d6, otherwise you're dropping on c6. Rook to d6, and now queen to e4. Queen to e4. Still maintaining double attack on the rook, and probably the knight is pinned, by the way, mind you guys. The knight is pinned. No more pinned, because rook a to d8, the knight is no more pinned. So the knight is free to go. Whatever that means, the knight is free to go. Doubling of the rook for black means that they could potentially pushing the pawn at some point, maybe after knight b4. Maybe after knight b4. Maybe. So these are, I think, quite decent intentions here. This one is a decent intention. Broadly speaking, the bigger plan might be, would you play, who's it, a3 here, if you were Hikaru? Human question. Well, no, he did rook f to d, which is not a bad stuff. You want to go and, oppose the pawn that might be going down the board. But would you play a3 here, or is just a bit too passive? He might be too, maybe he wants to play a bad idea. Again, getting the rooks on open files or semi-open files is never a bad idea. Rook f to d, that's cool. Okay. Now I don't know. Would you play knight b4? Or would you do something else? Would you play knight d3? But by the way, it's Ali Reza's turn. So, okay. It's Black's turn here. I don't know if you would do this or something else. This move would be... Yeah, but it's a bit too slow. I think if you play knight b4, they're going to be playing a3. White's going to play a3, and then you're going to sort of have to go back. So I'm not sure exactly what you have achieved with that stuff. I'm not fully convinced. So probably it's a waste of a tempo. To play knight b4 here might be a waste of a tempo. Or maybe not the best stuff ever. Okay. Moving back. In a cycle. We're playing the eternal cycle. Going back to the first game. That's been advertised. Pragg versus Magnus. Who's going to win? And Pragg played neither f takes e6 nor king h1, which I modestly implied myself that I would do. No way, sir. He played queen e2. I have an explanation, though. I have an explanation for this one. I mean, you might get disappointed, but I have an explanation anyway. Queen to e2 looks to me, guys, that clears the way for the rook. Primarily. It does many other things as well. Keep an eye on this, keep an eye on this. Claiming the d1 h5, so there is no knight playing funky things, so to speak. But most importantly, queen to e2 reveals the rook's column against the black queen. So that's something Magnus have to consider carefully. If you look at the black queen, my friends, you look at the black queen, where is safe for the black queen? Where is the safe square? You can't touch those squares because there is knights there. That's for one. You may go to the C file, but it feels a little bit weird. I mean, you might be forced to go over, but it's, you know, can black just castle short? Oh, you're dropping the e6. You can't go to the C because you're dropping on e6. This is very serious. So looks to me, if I'm correct, still I'm suggesting for black to castle short. I hope I'm not terribly wrong. I think black has to castle. The more you delay, the more complicated it's gonna get. Can you push e5 though? Hold on a sec. Let me just get all the paint off the board. Can you do this or this? Would I play e5 here? I mean, I would play e5 to not allow white to push e5. Don't get me wrong, I think it's quite serious. It's a defensive, a little bit born out of desperation move, e5. I think I would play e5 to not allow white to push e5, so to speak. But it's hard to say. And also fixes a little bit this guy. Due to the knight and bishop pressure, it kind of like sort of fixes the pawn. e5 and it stops white from pushing. You guys tell me if you think differently or if I'm missing any ideas. Please do tell me. Maybe you have a clear understanding. Maybe, you know, maybe there is a strong grandmaster watching the stream, which I kind of doubt, but you never know. I mean, they might be watching it just for fun, you know. Yeah, other than that, I don't think there is any good reason for them to watch it. But anyway. So e5, castle short. What else? What else for black here? It's Magnus's turn. He got like 20-ish minutes ahead of Pragg. It's something. But 50 minutes for a super grandmaster like Pragg should be enough to try to capitalize onto some advantage, either positional or tactical or material or all of them at once. He might be. Okay. So, yep, totally. E5 is an idea. Castle short is another idea. Is h6 by any means conceivable here? It doesn't feel like. Not necessary to play. No, you have to castle or to push e5. But we're going to see what Magnus comes up with. Yeah, it's very dangerous if white were to take on e6 with this guy. So this is really something you don't want to have. Therefore, probably e5. Yeah, you're going to have a backward pawn on d6, but that's how it is in the Sicilians, you know. In the Sveshnikov, Sveshnikov in particular. I mean, you got a d6 backward weak pawn for black. It is what is. It's the structure of the opening. So that's what is. You're going to have to play like this. Yeah, definitely e5 for castle short. What do you think? What do you think, guys? Is there anything better than this for black in your understanding? Also, what I do like about e5 a bit is that I'm kicking this knight away. This knight on d4 is a bit annoying, concerning. I want to send that guy away. And e5 is a sort of like forcing move. You really do force the white knight to move away. Right? You do force them, right? I mean, they could take on f6, but then again, I think that black would be relieved if you were to take on f6, I suppose. Okay. e5 castle short. Let's go to Ding Liren and Fabi here. What happened? Hey, I did say this. Well, I did say this. I wasn't maybe the, but I mentioned knight g3. I did mention knight g3. So he wanted to clarify. Interestingly, Ding Liren chose to. Yeah, no one is Magnus anyway, Simpson. But thanks very much for your thought, my friend. That's cool. Thank you. So Ding Liren chose here to salvage the pawn structure and to connect the two black pawns on the C and D rather than take with the bishop. My question is, can black take with bishop take d5? Or it's totally a horrible idea? Maybe he was afraid of queen d3 and c4 or something? Or maybe he was afraid of knight e3? I'm not clear on this one. He chose to take with the pawn though. By the way, mind you guys, c5 is coming. I think he wants to do a little bit of a pawn storm here. He wants to push the c7 to c5. Then we're gonna move this guy back on e3. Anyway, Fabi goes on knight g3, which I did say I would seriously consider. Now I guess the knight may be playing this. Together with this guy, you never know. So looks like knight to h5 would be nicely colluding with bishop on d4, and you might have some attack pressure on g7. Might be something. Rook a to e8. Rook on a didn't do nothing anyway, so you get the rook actually to oppose and attack something on a soon-to-be open file. Never a bad idea. As I said, that's something that always happens. People moving these super strong players moving the rooks on open files, and that's something we need to make it a habit, especially if the file is open or about to get open or semi-open. Or now, can we do knight h5, or it's a bit too premature? Knight h5 for g7, frankly. That's what I want to do. Yeah, you could do some other stuff. I don't know, queen c2 for this. That's another idea. Queen c2 for rook a1 to e1. Knight h5 for attacking on g7. That's what I currently notice. I might be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. Okay. Who was the last one? Okay, Firouzja here, Ali Reza black, and Hikaru with the whites. What did they play? Knight to d3. Okay, g5, knight d3. Rook attacks the queen. Queen goes to g4. Okay, Alreza's turn here. What have we gotten? Oh, I got an idea. I think Hikaru would like to play h4 as well. Queen defends this guy, okay, so that's cool. But h4, it's something that h4 and maybe potentially just saying some king g2, rook h. You never know. You never know. The white knight here stops any knight e5 forking and attacking and stuff. So I guess king g2 is definitely something. h4 definitely something. By the way, it is black's to play. It's not Nakamura. It's Alreza's turn. So let's see what they do. Let's see what they play. Can they do some rook doubling here? I mean, you need to create counter attack here. You can't wait for your opponent to attack you. You need to try to attack him more if possible. So looks to me some rook over to the e file, perhaps. Anyway, you can't take because you're gonna drop the black knight, but just saying. Just saying. Could be some other subtleties here. That's not an easy one. That's quite tactical, quite interesting. Gonna be a very interesting ending here. It's a middle game yet though. It's not an ending, it's a middle game. Hey, back to Carlson. What? Hey, e5. Hey, he took first. He took first. Wait a sec. Wait a sec. Wait a second. Hold your horses. Queen e2. Okay, we've explained a lot of stuff here. e5. Simpson. I was right about this one, brother. I did say e5 quite a few times. e5. I'm going to tell you again why e5 had happened. e5 had happened because if you didn't do it, white would have done it. And that's a problem with the rook line with the black queen. So you may want to just not allow that to happen. Plus e5 really forces the white knight away. So a little bit takes the steam off. It just diminishes the attack. Bishop takes on f6, fine. Now bishop takes on f6, and this guy's a little bit, we could say, is a little bit of a passive bishop here because it hits its own pawn. Sometimes I do, Simpson. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm missing tactics completely. So bishop f6 now is a bit of a passive bishop because it hits the pawn. But on the plus side, the white knight has to move. And he moved to c2. Move to c2. Do you know why? If black doesn't react, personally, I would love to get my knight on b4 and then to d5. That's a hell of an outpost. If you find me a better outpost than this, please tell me. I mean, the knight on c2 wants to be on d5. This is where they're meant to be before the game was born. Knight b4, knight d5 is the most important positioning of that knight. Now, is Magnus going to play a5? The question is. Because if you don't, you can bet your money on knight b4, knight d5. And if that knight makes it on d5, black has extra problems. Well, you could take it off with the bishop on b7. But the bishop on b7 is a cool guy who might be actually happy to being on the a6 f1 diagonal rather than exchanging the knight on d5. But that's so many subtleties. Simpson, that makes me very happy to hear. Makes me very happy to hear. If that could be translated in you gaining, better understanding, playing better chess, winning slightly more than losing, I think it's... But first and foremost, the most supreme value, if I may say that, is the understanding in chess. Any victory stems from the deep understanding of the position. There is no other secret. There is no other secret in chess. Only the understanding guarantees the win, I mean, it's based on understanding. And hopefully these voiced ideas would be helping our friends whoever they are. Yes. And I'm not using engine and stuff exactly because You know, we want to demonstrate that you could actually came to the same conclusion as strong players or the engine themselves by using the same understanding. I hope. I hope. Now, I don't know if white would do a5. I'm a little bit. I might be interesting to play, but if you do a5, there is the other troublesome knight, the knight on c3, which may play to b5, and then you got a massive problem pressurizing the d6. I mean, I think Magnus is in a sort of conundrum here. He's facing a dilemma. So let me just explain again the whole thing. I think it's fascinating. I mean, maybe for you guys it's completely soporific. Look, if you die of boredom, I apologize, guys, but this is chess. I'm sorry. Again, if it's soporific for you guys, it's nothing I could do. But maybe it ain't that much. Now, if we do a5 to stopping this and this, fair enough. I get it. But in the moment you're pushing a5, you actually clear the way for the other knight. And the other knight, if you remember, guys, we discussed about the Sicilian's backward weak pawn on d6. Now that's a problem. It's a bloody problem. It is a problem. It's horrible. Even if you drop bishop e7, bear in mind that white might be just very well pushing the f6. Just make it a complete mess. Sorry, this is a complete mess. I'd still bet my money on Pragg for this position here. Look, you do have, black does have the bishop pair, the famous bishop pair. Fair enough, but the bishop on f6 doesn't really exist for the time being. One, and those knights are really, 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 really troublesome. So the puzzle of the day, which probably should be taken from this game, I think the next video, I'm going to do a YouTube video on this particular game, Pragg Carlsen, because I'm playing Sicilians and against the Sicilians myself a great deal. And I think it's very instructive. This is a Sicilian Khan, played by Magnus versus Pragg. Pragg conducted the attack exemplary. This is an example of how to attack with white. And black is none other than Magnus Carlsen himself. So if that's not instructive, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Chess-wise talking. This is the problem for black. And you got an issue. Let's just try to figure out something. How do we stop? Well, okay, I'm assuming I'm going to trade off my bishop for your knight on d5. If you're going to play this and that, I'm going to take it. Probably. It pains me to say, but I guess black has to castle. I'm sorry. I think you have to castle the king. Things are going to get very ugly very, very soon. Can you do anything else? I mean, you could. I don't know. Is that working? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's horrible. I'm not sure it works. No. No, I think you have to castle. But if you castle... Oh, man, this is so much pressure. I don't think he's going to castle. I think he might be playing E, but if you play E7, there is knight D5. 100% is going to happen. Well, bishop takes. Pawn takes. Very difficult. This is very difficult. Those 58 minutes that Magnus has them, they're going to be disappearing. It's such a difficult position to defend for black. There is so many question marks. For instance, question. Are you castling your king? 1. If you castle your king, you need to figure out how you're going to be defending against queen g4. Incoming knight d5. You know, if the king is here, potentially they might take your bishop and you can't take back because the king is in check from the queen. Just roughly being specified. Roughly. So you got to figure out that thing. And you need to admit probably you're going to have to trade the bishop on b7 for the knight on d5. For instance. I would assume if you do castle short, knight d5, bishop takes, pawn takes. Okay, you could play that. But after queen here, do you know something? a little bit dirty here. You just go with the H pawn. Bang and bang and bang. And again, you're running into a problem. Because the knight on c2, Simpson and my friends, the knight on c2 is way more active than the bishop on f6, assuming the bishop will be taking the knight on d5. Okay, so those guys are going to disappear. Fair enough. I'm not mentioning that the queen might be hitting on e6. I'm not mentioning that. I'm not looking at b3 defending against the rook. I guess they will be taking it step by step. I'm looking at the bigger picture, which is the black king being castle, subjected to this kind of stuff. So you need to figure out this particular idea, which is very many ideas. There is not one idea. There is a plethora of ideas. And looks like Pragg is doing the attack and Magnus is defending. If you don't castle the king, are you going to move on e7? Probably not. Probably you're not going to castle at all. Oops. Can you dream about, let me see. Ideally, you would love to have these guys very active, but what does that mean? How do you activate the bishop? How? Can you start to try to generate? I mean, if the king is not castled, the rook doesn't exist. If the rook doesn't exist, that means you're playing with a handicap. You're playing with the king and rook versus two connected rooks. So white is stronger than you. The rook doesn't exist. Let's look at the efficiency of the pieces, guys. Then we're going to play a little game. We're going to ask the evaluation gauge what's the deal. But I'm going to throw an anticipation before checking with the engine. Rook doesn't exist. The bishop doesn't really exist. So those two pieces do not matter currently. They might do matter in the future, but for the time being they don't. And I'm not sure how the black rook on h8 will come to be active in the game. I'm not sure. I don't know how. Looks to me the bishop on b7 is going to get traded very soon. Queen to c6 Magnus played. He didn't touch nothing. He played queen to c6, which is a battery. What does that do? Let's put it like this. It attacks c4, okay? It attacks c4 twice. I guess there's always b3 here, right? So I reckon if you do b3 now, you got no issue. Unless there is some other tactics you want to try here. Like, no, I think hold a second. Did he just play b3? Because, or I just pre-moved it myself. Oh, no, he didn't play it. Oh, okay. Sorry, apologies for this. I thought he did play b3. I would play, okay, he doesn't. He played knight c2 to e3, defending c4 twice with the knight and with the queen. Okay, cool. This thing's gonna happen. Yeah, of course, many things may happen. Knight defends on c4 for the time being. Probably knight d5. There's very many good ideas here. Very many good ideas for white. So many good ideas for white. If you take this guy, you're going to weaken terribly the black king. Bishop tries to, so Magnus now with this last move, beautiful, bishop g5. He tries to activate the bishop. The bishop on f6 didn't do nothing. You're actually hitting your own guy. You don't do bloody things. So bishop g5 actually a bit more active now. A bit more active. Removing the defender of the c4. Simple yet deficient. Simple but effective. Bishop g5, a seemingly innocuous move that bears huge consequences. Bishop potentially wants to remove the defender of the c4. Two attackers, two defenders. Remove one defender, win a pawn, thus win the game. Just simple being put. That's not to say Pragg doesn't see that. Pragg sees this and sees way more than this. But just saying. Just saying. If you move the knight now, you're going to drop c4 unless you create some other crazy threat, which I'm not very much aware of. So that's a simple question Magnus put to Pragg here. What are you going to do about a c4? You could do b3 if you Pragg here. So you could do b3 and defend c4 naturally and Let them take if they want to, I guess. If that's what Magnus want to do. I'm not sure if that's what want to do. But just saying. B3 will be defending C4. And then you can play, no headache, you can play your beautiful active knight on the D5, which is a tremendous outpost. It's the mother of the outposts is knight D5. So what is Pragg going to do? B3 seems to be natural. Let me just... am I forced to play B3? Is there anything else? Is there something with the F6? No, that's horrible. Bishop takes with tempo, mind you, guys. Nah, you can't mess around. No, you can't mess around because bishop takes the knight with tempo. No, I guess it looks like you have to play B3. It looks like. You guys tell me if you think I'm wrong. Oopsie, what the heck? Okay. So, B3 seems like you defend C4, you got no more headaches about queen taking C4. And if they want to take on E3, of course, you're going to take back with the queen. And then you're going to play, you know, probably knight D5, that is. And that's cool. Then you might have some queen over to G5, harassing G7, pushing this guy. Still, I think White conducts the initiative, the attacking, and the whole stuff. So let me tell you a little story here, if I decipher this correctly. B3, bishop takes C3, forcing, queen takes C3. And if black castles, which is horrible for black to castle, you're going to push F6. Magnus is not going to castle. You're not going to castle. You're going to die very quickly. So after bishop E3, queen takes E3, black's not going to castle. He's going to have to come up with something else. He's going to have to do something else. I don't know. Queen C7, queen D7. I don't know. What? So now we're gonna definitely try this one. Very, very sparingly, I'm using the eval gauge. Very, very sparingly. But I wanna try this little stuff. If we could, as a human, by our own means and understanding, to approaching the objective truth in the evaluation of a chess position. And let's just put it, I'm gonna give a plus for white. I'm gonna give a plus for white. So based on the current position now, I'm going to give it a very, very generous plus 1.0. I think it's a plus 0.90 plus 1.2 advantage positional initiative for white. And the awful position of the black king, very exposed and way weaker than the white king. So plus 0.90 plus 1.2, something like this. So now let's see if I am correct in my evaluation. So I'm going to do it now, then I'm going to shut it off again. Okay, what's this? Plus 1.87. My God, this is completely killing Magnus here. So I should have been even more generous. Even more generous. It's devastating. Oh, I'm a bit surprised about this little move here, King H1. Really? Now, this is something unexpected. I was betting all my quids on the B3 thing previously, but now he moved the king. I did say at the beginning of the stream today that King H1 would be a move that you would have to play due to the fact that this diagonal is perennially subjected to checks and pins and stuff. Ah, it's bloody Queen C5, double attack, and then you would have ran amok trying to defending them. King H1 prophylactically and things. Okay. But now if bishop takes... Hello, David. Good to see you, brother. But now if bishop takes and queen takes... Mind you, it's black's turn. It's black's, not white's. So Magnus is turn to play here. Bishop takes, queen takes. It's forcing, right? And then I'm going to take on c4. There is something weird with king. Was king h1 absolutely necessary? Was king h1 necessary? Hello, Annibert. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate very much you sharing your thoughts. No one is Magnus, but that doesn't preclude we shouldn't be thinking. Absolutely. So no one claims it's Magnus Carlsen, but we definitely should do our bit of effort in this beautiful conceptual struggle today, my friends. So it is blacks, by the way. No, knight d5 is the perfect outpost ever. I'll give you that. I mean, I just said it like quite a few times. Knight d5 is the most best ever outpost and things, but it's Magnus's turn. And now the question is if he should take the knight. Queen must take. And then if you take on c4, I guess d6 is also sort of hanging, which is something you need to consider, because then the b6 is being attacked and stuff. King is in the center. It shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there. And if you castle with black, there is always f6. So there's quite a lot of mess coming. So you could address all these questions. Should the bishop take the knight? Annibert, do you think bishop should take e3? Simpson, David, would you guys capture on e3 now? Bishop takes e3? And then if you do take and queen take, there you go, he took. Which, by the way, I would have played this as well. But I'm no Magnus. Yeah, I would have taken on e3 for sure. And now that was a forcing move. The big question. Do you take on c4? If you take on c4, that comes with a big caveat. I mean, just look at queen b6, just amongst others. It could be some other crazy moves here. But you got to consider this one carefully. If you get on c4, you get a big issue with queen takes b6. I don't know what to say. Or maybe there is rook d6 stronger. Or maybe there is rook to c. My days. F. He pushed the F. He pushed the F. Of course, multi-purpose move. F does not allow the white pawn to go forwards and messing up your things. He might be even dreaming for castling the king. This is a purely prophylactic thing, guys. It's a safety measure. F6 that black had played is a completely safety measure here. You don't want white to push the f6 pawn, which we did highlight on a couple of occasions here. He might be even dreaming to castle short. There is no light square bishop, therefore you won't get checked via this diagonal, but queen might make it on that diagonal. Anyway, you're going to be wasting another tempo getting the king to h8, I guess, if that were to be the case. The bigger question now is, well, I think still white has big initiative here. Question, guys. Would you do b3? Would you do rook c1? I'm highlighting the candidate moves. Would you do what? Queen g3? I guess that's another insidious, very cool idea you could be thinking of. So I've highlighted my 3 first candidate moves that if I were Pragg, I would think about playing. And by the way, guys, if you find out how many games did Pragg win versus Magnus, I think he's got a very good record playing against Magnus. For a young lad, for a young player, I think that's just bloody amazing. Anyway, 40 minutes. He's cool with the time. Black King's position is not that great. So obviously Magnus will look to improving. But following Queen g3, which by the way, it's a move with tempo. You attack g7. This is serious. You can't touch c4. If Queen g3 happens, my friends, if it were to happen, just saying, if Queen g3, which attacks g7, if Queen g3 being moved now by Pragg, You can't touch c4 because there is queen takes g7. This is incredibly serious, and this is a double fork. I mean, you just die immediately. I mean, you just resign at this stage. So just for all of our friends here, queen g3, it's a very serious threat. Black either chooses to castle, which is very committal. The target is right there. If you touch c4, it's a huge blunder, which Magnus is not going to do, of course, right? You're not going to blunder unless he's like 10 seconds on the clock, and not even then. Hello, Vlad. Yeah, Magnus's issue in this particular game is the king's position. He played the Khan Sicilian, and he is struggling with the king's safety from the very bloody beginning. I mean, after the first 10 moves, he struggled continuously about king's position. I don't know. I mean, I do know a couple of things, but I'm not very seduced by what he played for black here. I mean, it's just not looking very good. So again, my candidate move would be queen g3 now if I were to have the white pieces. Queen g3 because I'm attacking a weakness, namely g7 square. And I'm forcing black to defend. Either black castles and tells me where the king is, so I know where the target is. And if they castle short, I could do, for instance, b3, and then I'm going to play knight d5. And I think it's absolutely the dream outpost for your knight and things. So let me just do it like this. Queen g3, forcing. You can't touch c4. We just established. Castle short. Cool enough. b3. And I think knight d5 follows. Unstoppable. Great. It's just great. It's just great. Now, maybe Pragg wants to do something else. Maybe Pragg wants to jump on knight d5 straight away. I guess you kind of can. But, yeah. Personally, I would consider seriously queen g3. King in the center, Anybird, it's awful. King in the center is just absolutely devastating. Do not keep your kings in the center. I'm sorry, I hope, I mean, I hate to be in a position to tell you don't play like Magnus. I mean, don't play like Magnus in this position. But do play like Magnus in many other situations, of course. But in this particular scenario, just don't play like Magnus. I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. Well, your king shouldn't be there. A black king shouldn't be there. I mean, it pains me to look at the black king's position. Oh boy, no way. Oh, no way. No. I don't know if it's Khan Sicilian's fault. I don't know if it's Magnus' way to be conducting the defense. I do not know. But that black king shouldn't be there. Oh, man. Okay. So I'm going to leave the red arrows with my suggested moves, and we can move elegantly towards Dingley Wren and Fabi and see what they do. And we're going to come back for sure. I'm really incredibly curious what Pragg decides to play here. Is this going to be another victory for Pragg? Guys, if you were to bet money, which I absolutely do not recommend, don't do that. If you were to bet your money, would you bet on Pragg? Someone asked me this. I think Simpson asked me this at the beginning of the stream. And I said, that was move number 14. And I said, I would bet my money on Pragg, judging by the current scenario. And that was just move 14. When I said yes, I responded yes to Simpson's question. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, let's move to Ding and stuff. Shall I move the chat over to the left-hand side? Because you guys can't see the moves, can you? Yep. I'm going to move. Thank you, Simpson. I'm going to move the chat over here. Maybe slightly resizing. I hope you guys not terribly affected by this, because I want you guys to see the last moves and all. And now I'm going to lock the chat and go back to the stuff here. Okay, cool. So, f6 last move. queen g3, my first candidate stuff to do here. Now let's go to Ding and Fabi. Let's go to Ding and Fabi. Look, I'm very happy with how Ding did stuff. He drew in the Armageddon versus Magnus, but that's by no means something bad. I mean, he did his best. Let's see, it's not quite finished yet. It's not quite finished. This is round number 3. All sorts of things can happen. So let's see what happened here. Queen c6, bishop to f4. Okay. Bishop to f4, bishop to f4. You know what, bishop f4? Well, amongst very many other things. Bishop to f4 means that my battery now is very active. You can't... I mean, this guy anyway can't move. The bishop can't move. But even if they could, I'm going to take a rook for free. Anyway, the bishop can't move. I'm liking Ding's position here. Sorry, Fabi's position here. It's not bad. Looks like a draw. Hold on a second. What's going on? Queen takes a4. Let me count the material. 3, 3, 6, 2, 3, 5. Okay, a pawn had been nicked. Can we go for this kind of stuff? Bishop d6 attacks the rook. Rook's got to move. Okay. Then what? We do have a check here. What else? Then we might have some other stuff too. That's very tactical. Should we hit on h6 or something? What do we do here? Bishop d6. Well, you force the rook away, okay. But what else? What else is here? Bishop d6, rook has to go. Well, that's a move with the tempo. Then you could do queen d3. g6 is weakening. They won't do that. They have to play in a corner or something. That's getting very interesting. Anyway, he lost a pawn. The a5 pawn. This is something. Okay, bishop d6 probably to just... forcing that rook away, keeping an eye on the c5. Can I attack c5 twice? I don't know what else is here to do. It would be lovely to think about sacrificing on h6, but doesn't work currently. You need more power. I don't know. Bishop d6. Definitely I'd go for bishop d6 now. I have to go for bishop d6. It's a very complicated one. It's not easy at all. Bishop d6, probably. Then rook has to go, then queen to d3. That's all I can see at the minute. Queen to d3 check. They have to drop the king. g6 is weakening the dark squares, so they can't play g6. They have to move the king. And then perhaps knight to f5 for some e7 harassment. So that's the plan I'm having for white here. Bishop d6, rook has to move, and they're going to take some time for Ding to decide where to go. And then some queen to d3 check. They can't play the bishop, obviously. I'm going to take it. The king's got to move. And then maybe some knight f5 for the knight e7 harassment. So that's how I see the potential for Fabi to attack here. I might be wrong, but that's how I would consider playing here with white versus black in this position. Okay, and the question is if that a4 pawn was really the right moment to be taking it. I don't know. We'll find out though. This one, Nakamura versus Firouzja. Oh, I did say about h4 some very many moves ago. I did say about the h4. You want to push that guy. You have to push that guy. You need to challenge the g5 because that leads to the black king. And potentially, we might be having some king to g2 and some rooks. I don't know when and how. Looks like the c7 is also exploitable as well. Anyway. Queen e5 to f6, h4. of course, challenging the g5. The two white rooks are very versatile. They could double up on c, they could double up on d, you name it. So the two white rooks are really, really very, very, very free to form a battery, whichever way you may find it more aggressive. If you double up on the c, you might be thinking about playing some rook to c8 to trade off things here, if you want to. If you want to double up on the d, you want to say that you might be interested in taking this guy on d4, although e2 is hanging. But Nakamura decided to play h4 because he wants to probably open up the h. Who knows? Maybe he's going to play king g2 after all. Well, we'll see about that. Definitely king g2 can be played, but let's see how Firouzja plays here now. You can't take, that's for sure, because the pawn is pinned. But hey, he can get the rooks and reinforce this guy. You could. You totally could. But if you play the rook, you kind of give up on attacking the e2. But you can't have them all, can you? Rook e6 to rook d6. Supporting this guy, maybe you want to push it down? Perhaps. Let's go to Magnus and Pragg here. Pragg and Magnus. Magnus and Pragg. Hey, I did say b3. I did say b3, but that was my second candidate move. I did say b3. In the hierarchy of my moves, I think I highlighted queen g3 as being my first choice. I don't know what the stockfish would say though. So queen g3 was my first move, and b3 was my second candidate move. b3 is that kind of super safe, super nice. c4 is incredibly safe at the minute, and these moves are coming. I guess there's a little bit of a subtlety. He doesn't want to relocate the queen just yet. He wants to see what Magnus is going to do with the king. Is he going to move the king on the 7th rank? And if you move it on the 7th rank, what does that even mean? Is Magnus going to castle? If you move the king on the 7th rank, again, knight to d5 is exactly where you want to get the white knight. There is no other place for the white knight than d5. So now Magnus has a problem. He got to figure out what to do with the king again. Probably he got to have to play king f7. Really, what else can you do? I mean, what else can you possibly play? King f7 to connect the black rooks. No, he goes with b5 though. He just played b5. He just played b5. I'm going to tell you something. Can we do rook d to c? Can we do rook d to c? Rook d to c. But then they're going to take. True. True. But then I'm going to play knight d5. Again, is it that bad? The d6 is a backward weak pawn anyway. But I'm going to play rook d to c where the black queen is. You know. Or do you play knight d5 now? It's Pragg's turn. And I've highlighted the moves here. 1, 2, which one is it? Rook dc. I like rook dc very much. I like knight d5. Obviously, you can't take on b5, because if you take on b5, you're losing the knight on c3, which is currently double attacked by the queen and by the rook. So that one can be discarded, but it's just saying for our friends, this one can't be taken, because knight's getting captured, and practically you lost the game. Pragg is never going to do that. Knight d5. He opted for knight d5, guys, which I did highlight. I said knight d5 for rook dc. Knight d5 can't be bad. That's where the knight wanted to go, since forever. And now we're getting into probably a very, very exciting endgame. Black could take here potentially, but I think Vlad had just highlighted the knight to b6 or the rook d to c. I'm still very keen on rook d to c though. I'm telling you. I'm incredibly keen on rook d to c. I don't know if Magnus gonna take now on c4 or not. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna play king f7 though. Yes, David, I'm reading your message now. I know there is a little bit of lagging, which again, it's not of my doing. I didn't do nothing to do weird settings on YouTube. I can't remember. So again, I'm very, very, very keen on rook d to c. The question is, if Magnus decides to either castle or to play king f7, you got to do one of this stuff because you cannot play with the handicap of not having a rook active. So he gotta castle or play king f7. You gotta do one of these. I'm not sure I would take one c4. Not as long as the king that exposed. So you must take care of the king. Take care of the king meaning connecting the rooks somehow. Either via castling or king moved on the 7th rank. And guys, your guess is as good as mine. You tell me what exactly you think you may want to go. Obviously, there is no way on earth king d7 because of the knight b6 fork and goodbye. So that's a blunder. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So we're looking at this or we're looking at that. Taking on c4 now? Bloody hell, with the king on castle? Come on, you got to be joking, right? It's very difficult for black here, really difficult. Anybird, I would concur. I would say exactly the same. Yeah, exactly as I highlighted, Anybird. One of these two. Either castle or king f7. You know, you just... Yep, like, okay. Yeah, if you castle, there was the fork. Yes, bingo, 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 Vlad. Therefore, king f7. Therefore, king f7. Now, what Magnus wants to do is to get rid of the queen, to diminish the intensity. He is desperate for trading. Magnus is absolutely desperate to trading queens, which I think Pragg will just decline. He's not going to trade the bloody thing. He's going to go probably queen g3. You can't trade queens here, because if you trade the queens, you give up on the most attacking, aggressive piece available for you now. So you can't trade queens now. Magnus going to be grateful forever if you're trading queens here. I don't think you want to trade queen. You need to just move the queen somewhere. And I can't find a more aggressive square than g3. But I might be wrong. What else? What else than queen g3? Which will force black to take a decision. Ultimately, after queen g3 now being played by black, I'd assume you would have to decide. Very critical moment for Magnus here, and Pragg had conducted exemplary the game. Absolutely amazing way to playing chess by the young Indian Super Grandmaster. Amazing chess. Okay, finished this large cup of coffee already. I wonder if that would be enough. Okay, queen g3. What else can white play here? So I'm assuming you don't want to trade the queens, right? By the way, I can see Nakamura and Ali Reza. I can see on the screen now. They've drawn already. Okay, cool. The only games happening is Ding and Fabi and Magnus Pragg. Okay. Guys, let me know. Would you trade the queens here? Personally, I wouldn't trade any queen. Because I want to play with an active piece attacking. So I would very, very, very likely go for queen g3. And then black either cast. No, they can't castle. It's a disaster. They're getting forked. They can't castle. They got to play f. King f7. It's an absolute pain. King f7 or king d7. This is absolutely pain. Yes, Vlad very well mentioned. If there were to be this, there is always this kind of stuff now. So you can't really do this. King f7. Yeah, king f7. Let me tell you what's going to happen after king f7. So queen g3, king f7, queen g4 for very simple. Oops. So again, queen g3, if king f7, queen g4 for this check here. And I don't know what you're doing. I just don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't know what you're supposed to do. I guess he'll need to figure out something, but it's not clear what exactly. Because I don't have very many good moves for black here. The problem with king f7, guys, if queen needs only 2 tempi to get itself on h5 and attacking the king, they only need 2 tempi. And after that check, it's getting more and more complicated here for black to play. So, David, would you trade the queens if you had whites here or decline the trade? I wouldn't trade queens, personally. I don't think you should be trading any queens here. Oh, yeah, it's a perpetual... Queen f3. He just moved, Simpson, guys. Yes, I agree, Simpson. It's a perpetual wonderful puzzle. Queen f3. Blimey, I thought queen g3 is actually the move. Queen f. Ah! Sugar. He wants to go here. He wants to go h5. I guess queen g3 is also playable, but maybe this one is a bit more direct. So queen g3, it's cool. I think it's nice. I don't think it's a fundamentally wrong choice. Queen f3, though, puts a very, very direct question. What do you do against queen h5? What do you do against queen h5? He didn't react against queen h5. He took on c4. But now, can I just play check first? Really, I mean, I could do rook dc. I could do, you name it. No, not rook dc, because bishop's going to take my knight, which is fundamentally important. No, it's queen h5, the first move ever here. Sorry, you have to play queen h5 here. You've got to play queen h5. Forget about, okay, I'm going to erase all the moves. No. This is the move. This is the move, guys. It's queen h5 straight away. It's queen h5. You tell me what you're playing. g6 is not going to work because I'm going to take. You can't take back. I'm going to take your rook. That's just game over. Queen h5. You're going to have to move the king. Please tell me, where do you move the king? Because after you move the king, and I don't know where, how you want to play, then I could take potentially on c4. And if you take, I'm even considering rook c, giving you maybe. I'm not sure. That one requires further investigation. Definitely queen h5, it's something. Which I would definitely play immediately here now. But I guess Pragg wants to make absolutely certain that this indeed is the strongest, most aggressive attacking move. This is the move. It's queen h5. That's how I see this. Very important. It's a move with tempo. You attack. We can assume knight's not going to stay there forever because Magnus is going to take the bloody knight immediately. Queen h5, king f8, and then probably you need to take c4. I'm not sure it works, Anibird, because I'm going to take, and I'm threatening g7 with devastating consequences. g6 doesn't work, I'm afraid. So queen h5, Anibird, and if g6, I'm going to take threatening g7 check and attacking rook. This is just Too painful to play. So after queen h5, there is only one move. Black king must go away. G6 can be discarded completely, unless I'm... No, you can't play G6. It's a disaster. I mean, I didn't even think about knight F6. I mean, just think about that one too. No, 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 no. You can't play G6. It's just too much for black. Black loses. You have to move the king, right? As I understand, after queen h5, black must move king. G6 is not an option for black. You guys correct me if you think I'm wrong, or you guys correct me, but it's just devastating. G6 can't be played. Not at this level. Yeah, maybe some club level player, maybe some guys from neighborhood, maybe they go. But no, G6 can't be played. Nope. Yeah, this is the mother of the moves. This is the mother of the candidate moves here. Anything else? It's an unnecessary delay. You could... Now, there you go. There you bloody go. Queen h5, guys. Come on. Pragg is too serious to mess around with this kind of stuff at this level. Even I knew it's queen h5, so definitely Pragg couldn't have missed this opportunity. King f8, exactly as I said. Exactly as I said. Queen h5, king f8 must. Now you can think about BC. You can think about stuff now. It's, you know, up to you. You could think about things like rook c1. Let me tell you what I like about rook c1. Okay, he goes differently. Okay, he goes differently. I try to decipher why exactly rook f, because I was tempted to say rook c1 previously. Let me just go back one little move. I was tempted to say this because obviously I want to play that. If this guy took, I would have taken. If queen takes, you know, just game over. Probably rook dc also wins. But Pragg went for rook f3. Why the heck? Now, there is something here. Okay, I'll give you that. But is it really? Sorry, what the heck is with the rook f3 thing? Let's assume bishop takes. Let's just assume bishop takes. Nah, there's rook taking, attacking queen on tempo. You gotta move. Well, queen goes here. Yeah. Isn't it rook dc actually the real deal previously? How many tempos do you need for this? They're gonna be taking your knight off the board. Sorry, what? Okay. I thought he was supposed to play rook dc, but obviously I'm not Pragg. He definitely sees way better than most of us. Rook f3, I don't think it's fundamentally wrong, but it feels like maybe not the strongest move. I would assume black wants to take your knight on d5, right? Because this guy is actually a big problem. So you want to take this guy off the board. Then, yeah, of course, rook takes on tempo. Queen is in danger of things. But really? Vlad, here, I'm talking about this particular moment. Rook dc. Okay, I'm going to make something that I am going to be ashamed of. Rook f3 is the first move, man. Rook dc is not, dudes. I'm sorry to being a disappointment yet again. Rook f3, bishop d, rook d, exactly as I said. Exactly as I said. Apparently, rook dc is not the strongest, but rook f3. Now you could actually have the supreme. And I did say rook f3, bishop takes, rook takes, and queen has to move. Yeah, okay, big advantage for white here. He did play. Let's see how awful this is. Oh bloody hell, this loses. Bishop d5. This is awful. That's why we're losing, man. Because we don't play the first move of the engine. Bishop d5, ed, and the game waters down. There is a passer here. Oh, sugar. Can you imagine this? Came to this moment to screw it up at the very end. Painful. Oh, bloody hell. Alright. Okay. So, that's why Pragg is Pragg, right? And that's why we're going to lose. Even if we get to this point, you fight like a maniac. You build up something which you feel and you kind of know it's better just to screw up in the end. So yeah, rook f3 is actually the best move, and Pragg did find it. Bishop takes, rook takes. I did say that. Rook plays and attacks queen with tempo. Queen's got to move. Keep pressure on the b a little bit, but the attack is ferocious. White attacks ferociously. And the rook doesn't exist. Magnus now plays with the massive handicap. He doesn't have a rook. He plays Pragg less a rook. This is as deadly as it can get, my friends. Playing against Pragg without a rook. What is he doing? Wow. Wow. Pragg has it. 17 minutes. More than enough. 17 minutes, more than enough. Okay, let's think. I think you kind of have to take, because you can't allow a pass pawn down the board. That's just unnecessary headache. So I suspect you kind of have to take. And after rook takes, I think you can play rook b3 and big, enormous problem, which probably will be prompting Magnus to sort of resign. Maybe not just yet, but very close anyway. So BC, I don't know what else Black's going to do here, because king can't move. I mean, they could do this kind of stuff, but probably you kind of have to. But then this, but then this, but then this. Oh my days. Awful double attack here. I don't know how you get out of this mess. I don't know how you get out. You don't. You actually do not. If he manages to get the rook to do something, Magnus, maybe. 3-3-6, 2-4-6. Nah, he gonna drop. I don't. It might be something, but I'm not sure. So this one takes queen to b1 check. King's gonna move. There's no more other checks, but you do have an option to try something at this stage, and I don't know if that is king to e7, but it's very pessimistic from Black's perspective here. Now, a little bit pessimistic. I don't think it works. And at move 14, I'm looking at the screen. Move number 14 when I started the stream today, and I didn't feel very comfortable playing with the black pieces in that position. And it came to be confirmed indeed. Unfortunately for Magnus, that doesn't look very, very, very good for them. So now you guys, you could tell me if you would take on c4 if you consider playing something else. I think that's quite cool. Yeah, there is a check, but I don't think that... Okay, there is a check that might be taken then on e4. Okay, we got to consider that one. So probably that's why Pragg doesn't rush. If you take, queen check, you move, queen takes here. I'm not sure we thought about that one. I think it's a big, big plus here for white. Yeah, we're going to put the eval gauge. Yeah, we're going to put the gauge now. So I think Pragg doesn't rush into taking c4 because after queen b1, king h2, and queen takes e4, he got to figure... He did take though. He did take. That means he has a plan. If queen b1, after king h2, queen takes e4, he got a plan. Yeah, I think the plan is some queen here, threatening checkmate. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. He's giving you the rook if you want to take it at some point. Okay, so let's do it again. Magnus is going to resign any minute now. Queen b1, king h2. If queen takes c4, it doesn't mean a bloody thing. It's queen to b3. If queen takes c4, again, doesn't mean nothing, I guess. Queen b7, threatening checkmate. No, he took with c. He wants to give a check with a Queen b3, exactly as we said. I did say queen b3, which I would have done, of course. Queen b3, queen must move. You do have a check, though. Ah! Wait a freaking minute. Check. Queen. Oh my god, this is so sharp. What the hell is this? Rook c1 check. It's Magnus's turn. He got 40. Okay, let me think about this one as a diligent student teacher. Rook c1 check. Well, they could block with this. Ah. Well, kind of takes, kind of queen, but then maybe you got some time to moving king to... Right. It's going to be rook c1. You got to play rook c1. And that Pragg needs to play rook to d to block. You have to. I think it's plenty of time. 14 minutes for a super grandmaster. There's plenty of time. I wouldn't be worried. Thank you very much for following, my friend, whoever you are. Appreciate. I wouldn't be worried about time because 15 minutes, it's more than enough for this, guys. Really. Thank for the subscription, Sacrosanct. So rook c1, rook has to block, rook takes, queen has to move again. Where do you move the queen? You need to move the queen so that you defend against the rook b8 check. You need to move the queen so that you defend against queen takes on d6. I think more question marks for black's defenses than for white's attacking chances. So, yeah. But the only wild card that Magnus can pull now is rook c1 check. I mean, probably you need to consider also rook b4. But, yeah, probably you can. Look, if you are Magnus here and if you got 40 minutes on the clock, just give 20 more minutes and think it through. Rook c1 and also think about rook b4. If you think there is a slight chance to being a bit better with rook b4, think about that one too. But there is other tactics floating here. Do you know what that is? So let me show you what I think I've seen. If you do this, it could be even this. Because if you take, I'm going to take your guy anyway. Hey, rook b4. He played rook b4. Okay. So I did say you got to give time rook c1 or rook b4, even if it's the slightest chance ever. And there you go. Rook b4 played by Magnus. He didn't stay 20 minutes, though. He just did it straight away. Now Pragg again. I think Pragg has have more than enough time. 4-1-5, 3-3-6, but the rook doesn't exist. Magnus has big handicap. No rook. Rook d3 defending here. If you take, they're gonna take back. You still have to deal with rook b8, and that's very deadly. Can you play king? Can you play king to e7? By the way, you can't move the king anywhere. King to e7 as a desperate attempt to hoping to do ever something with this guy, if there's to do something. I'm not like incredibly happy about it, but what can you possibly do? Trading here gives white tempo. Rook takes b3, rook takes b3, queen still under threat. You gotta move the queen, and you're still in the same dire situation here. I'm not sure what you can come up with. I think it's a big plus. I think it's a +1. Seriously, +1 point something up. Pragg conducted himself amazingly in this game. Yet again, wonderful record for this young man. Super Grandmaster, Indian Super Grandmaster. He really delivers. I think he can be proud of his personal record versus Magnus Carlsen. I don't know how many players on the planet can boast about having beaten Magnus a few times. I think this is the 4th time Pragg beats Magnus Carlsen. He didn't do it once. He did it like 3 times. That's an amazing personal record for Praggnanandhaa. Unbelievable. Okay, because you asked me, Vlad, about the gauge. So +1.5. Let's find out the truth. Evaluation gauge. What's this? +1. Oh my god, I can't. Okay, +3 already. It's just enormous advantage. It's enormous advantage. It's +3. +2.94. This is enormous advantage for white here. And we could ask the engine. I mean, I think apart from King E7, you just resign if you want to. I mean, really. I mean, you could resign at any moment, but if you don't want to resign, I'm going to look at any ideas black might play. So my 2 cents would be King E7. Again, it's a desperate attempt to get that rook on H8 to do something. But that's not saving by any means. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying King E7 saves the game. No, but it's just an attempt. E2 for... Oh, you're talking about... Oh, sorry, what? King E7. Yeah, King E7. That's what I said. Yeah, if you're talking about E7. Let's find out the objective truth now, which is... There you go, King E7. So I'm not further from the truth, but that's not going to save me. So I did get the engine's first line, but that's not going to save black. Just to make it very clear. Just to make it very clear. King E7 is the first line black should consider, but it's not saving anything. He went for rook takes, and now he's going to waste another tempo. Rook takes b3. Obviously, it's not pawn takes. It's rook takes b3, attacking the black queen with tempo. And then you figure out what you want to do. Probably queen c7 or queen a7. And try to play like this. Yeah, there's huge advantage for white indeed, but he don't give up just yet. If he somehow magically, I don't even know what that means, if he somehow inexplicably manages to play king to e7, get that rook in the game, he might get some chances to do something. But this game is a little bit lost for black, like +3. Yeah, maybe time could play a role at some point. But again, 13 minutes should be... Now, look, I've got a very normal question. What on earth is Pragg doing and not taking the rook straight away with the white rook with tempo attacking queen? You tell me, what is he thinking about? Because apart from rook d3, b3, there is nothing white could have possibly played. Taking with the pawn was completely discardable. You can't take with the pawn. So rook had to take the rook. Why did he waste 1 minute? I mean, you're not supposed to waste a single second here. I mean, that's a pre-move stuff you have to do. Rook takes b3 was the default response to that particular thing. Okay, queen's got to move now. c7 or a7 because you got to defend against the b, otherwise just game over. I mean, just that's about it. You may want to play c7 just in case you're hoping for some background things. Yes, queen c7. There you go. Yep. Oops, sorry, apologies. Yes, queen c7. Yes. Queen c7. Now, he needs to find the killer strikes here, Pragg. He needs to find something like a finisher type of move. Again, we need to find it ourselves. No engine involved, please, guys. Well, I'm not imposing or anything, but just saying, let's try to make an effort ourselves. What is the serious plan here for white to capitalize? Very instructive. I'm going to make a video on this game that we're currently seeing, guys. Make sure you, perhaps you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, my newest friends that joined the stream today, guys. I'm uploading regularly. Last video was on Bobby Fischer, Boris Spassky, game number 10. They played in the World Chess Championship 1972. Was a Rui Lopez, so you may you want to have a look at that last video I've uploaded. Queen to D. Okay. Is it queen to B because of this? Yeah, that makes sense. He defended against any possible background things. And if you play this... Oh my god, it's this. Okay, there's no good moves here. Oh boy, there's no good moves here. Okay, let me think. King e7. Queen this or queen that. How do you stop this? I really don't know. Yeah, if he works out some magic, some supernatural abilities, he might be getting his opponent mind into a fog. I'm really failed to see how exactly he can. How do you save the game? Oh, sorry, he didn't move it, did he? You can't move King E7 because of either this or that, and I just don't know how you're stopping things. He can win only by magic. There is no reasonable way you can win this. This is reason versus magic. You can't. You can't win it, man. I don't know how you win this with black, or how you draw this with black. What do you play? What exactly you play? G6. I still do not care. I'm gonna play Queen B8. I reckon, threatening take your guy. In the minute you move the king on the 7th rank, I'm gonna play Rook B7. I'm afraid there is no magic that can be used against it. I'm sorry to disappoint all the magic lovers. After Queen B8, after Queen B1, there is no magic that can save black here. I am sorry. You tell me what black plays. I'm happy to looking at this. No back rank check. So let's say if you are hoping for some checking the king or something, you don't have any check. There is no king move you could meaningfully play. Well, you can move the king on the F or E. Okay, so let's just look at it this way. Like this. Okay, fine. Queen B1. Threatening Rook B7. What do you actually play? You could play Rook to C, and after I take your queen... No, come on. I can't do this. Sorry, guys. I think you're going to be resigning any second, any moment now. Especially after Queen B1 being played. I think it's a +6, +8 now. Okay, let's just do it again. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm needing a confirmation from the engine because I know. Well, okay, I mean, it's evaluation bar. Okay, fellas, that's a +4.32. Yeah, okay, cool. What are black's options? I don't see any. I don't know what to play. G6, G5, King E7. It's okay. G6, G5, fine. G6, G5. G6, G5, I'm still going to play Queen B, right? So how do you actually do stuff? You can't. I'm not having any plan for black because I can't defend this with black pieces. Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Okay, G6, Queen B1. Okay, G6, Queen B1. You either drop the rook or you drop the queen. Which one is it? Oh, let's consider the engine's first moves. G6 or G5. I don't even bother taking or anything. Yeah, I'm afraid not even Mikhail Tal can save anything at this stage. I think the dark deep forest had just disappeared. I'm afraid. I'm afraid this is no deep dark forest. I think it's just a open, full of light meadow. I fear. It's as light as it can get. It's not gonna work. G6, G5, King E7. Nothing really works. You're gonna have to drop material, and at this caliber, at this chess being played at this highest level, I don't think you could work out anything. You can't work out anything here. No way, sir. Yeah. Okay, I hope you don't mind, guys. I'm gonna go quickly to Ding and Fabi because that one seemed to be sealed. I mean, you know, Uh, Probably Magnus gonna resign any minute now. Let's have a look at this one here. If it's more attractive in its possibilities. White to play, right? No, yes, white to play. Ooh, Fabi is just 33 minutes. That's huge. So, guys, gonna be an Armageddon? No, Hikaru beaten Ali Reza and Armageddon, guys. Whilst we were watching Magnus and Pragg, they already played an Armageddon. Hikaru won. Cool. Okay. Okay. This one here. This is so far from over. Oh my days, 2 minor pieces versus 2 rooks, and currently the rooks are being blocked on the e-file. Therefore, the knight has full freedom to do whatever they want. I guess a rook can be coming here? Well, you gotta be careful about this kind of stuff. So, yeah, not really. But still, playable, I guess. Black king is so unfortunate what they are. You need to get a rook here on h4. How do you get a rook on h4? I think that's the question of the day. Or maybe you need to get a rook on g5 and... Yeah, but how? Well, I suppose you could play this very slow, but quite... That's a plan, at least. It could be a rook coming, but I could check you at any time. Okay, maybe rook e3, rook g3. Hell, that works very well. Come on. Nah, it takes too long, Vlad. Let me tell you something. I think... Therefore, I am. That's... Oh, sorry. Let's just do the whole thing again. I think that rook e3 might be a bit faster than pawn h moving up the board. So if you do rook e3, the plan would be to go rook g3 for obvious reasons. g7 checkmate or something. If black rook tries to something, we always dropping... I mean, we're not dropping, we moving nicely over to the h. And that's about it. So the plan would be, I think, rook g3. Even if they push the pawn, you don't bother about anything else. The plan is to move as quickly as possible rook over to the g file. And that's it. Knight can't do nothing. f6 is taken by the queen. E is taken by all the white pieces. And rook e3, rook g3 seem to be just delivering the end of the game. And fellas, we're going to go quickly to Pragg and Magnus. We're going to go quickly here because Magnus is... he played queen c5, and exactly as I said, like 50 times, I think, queen b1. And now the question is he going to resign? What is he doing? Rook b7. Of course, if it was a check, king goes on g7. Okay, whoa. They actually played a couple of things. g6, of course. Queen b1, as I said. Queen to c5. Queen to c5 because he didn't want to get caught up with the queen on the 7th rank with the queen, with the rook and the black king. So this Magnus guy is very resourceful. This Magnus guy is resourceful. Queen to c5 away from the pin. Therefore, if there is a rook b8, king moves on g7, providing defense for the rook and moving away from the check. But the bloody question is, after queen b7 checking your king, I'm going to take your rook, right? Does he have a perpetual? Oh my god, he's going for a perpetual. This guy is really, really naughty. I mean, look at this. Think about this idea for a second. Check. I could take your guy or not. I don't want to take. Let's say I'm going queen to b7. Fair enough. King to h6. Good. You take the rook. Good. Check. You move. Check. You move. Check. Does he want to pull a draw, man? Oh, come on. Okay, this is a plan. I think this is the plan. I haven't checked with the engine, but this is a plan. Therefore, Pragg mustn't get greedy to go for the rook. He needs to figure out a different way. Wait a second, fellas. This is exciting. Pragg is going now a little bit low on time, 34. Well, they're going to be reaching just 6 more moves, but these 6 more moves are incredibly important. So how the hell did he find the queen c5 idea? I mean, g6, okay. Again, check. King moves. Queen b7, check. I'll take your rook eventually, but you're going to be a perpetual. King h6. Jesus Christ. This guy is really resourceful, isn't he? If you take the rook for free, I'll give you that. Your rook is in a corner which virtually doesn't exist from a tactical, practical point of view. The queen is on b7, and your king is on the back rank, and the black queen is going to deliver c1 and f4 pretty much all the time. So he might just be very well perpetually checking Pragg. And in order for Pragg to figure out the path to victory, he probably might need a bit more time, and it's incredibly emotionally charged. Guys, this is phenomenal, and I completely admire Magnus's resourcefulness. I mean, you cannot but just admire this. This is just gorgeous. Wait a second, Jose. Hey, King h2 played by Pragg. You know why, right? Because King h2 is the only way for Pragg not to get perpetually checked. Because Rook b8 is going to happen. But hold on a sec. A couple of things took place, my friends. Queen c5, Rook b7, King takes. Ooh, sorry, pawn takes, g6 takes. King moved away from the potential of a perpetual, if I understand this one correctly. Still big trouble, though. What is black playing? What, do you have any perpetuals here? You can't move the king. Hey, you can move this, and if there is this, I can move this. I guess. Well, what else? I mean, what bloody else can you do? I mean, you're in deep trouble. Or do you need to think about this and that? Oh, come on. Okay, this is very time consuming. Vlad, Magnus is very resourceful, and this is just simply time consuming. And sometimes you just need to use the time as a weapon. Absolutely. Absolutely. I still think white is dominating here. Way better position, attacking and stuff. Can we do... Whose turn is it? Oh, black's turn. Okay. What do you play here? Do you launching this? Do you move this? If you play Rook g8 and they play this for a checkmate here, that's serious. So what do you play with black? You push the pawn. Do you push the pawn? Do you take? Do you push the pawn? My God, there's so much to think about. The stuff is that Magnus enjoys 23 minutes, whereas Pragg is only 8 minutes. And now I think Magnus is going to think for the most time consuming. Yeah. You stop the... Yeah. Magnus is going to pull anything, absolutely anything he can in this position here. And the question is if Rook g8 or Rook g8. Rook g8. Makes sense, Rook g8, so to speak. What do you do after Queen b3, though? So you play Rook g8. Okay, I understand. Check. You're gonna move here. Or Rook g8, Queen b3. You got a problem. You do have a problem after Rook g8 and Queen b3. Don't you? Rook g8, Queen b3 for this. How you exactly doing it? You're gonna push the black pawn then, I guess. this guy. Like, sort of you have to. It is time consuming. And you have to play this accurately. Black is a little bit lost, so they need to play the wildest possible choice to keep the game going. Whereas Pragg has to behave very accurately here to deliver. And Fabi had won. Before these guys are moving, let me briefly see what was the plan at the very end. Wait a sec, guys. I apologize for this. I really want to know. What did they play here? He's pushed to c4. Rook takes. What happens if the pawn takes? If the pawn captures here, do we have this? Or do we have... What do we have? You have queen. No. Yes. Yes, you have queen. And if they move here, you're going to take the queen. Okay, that makes sense. Now, if pawn takes, you're going to play the queen here. Check. If king goes on a h, you're going to take the queen. If king goes in a corner, that's the deal. You're still going to take on e6 with the rook, right? I think that's the winning way. So if they capture, you're going to play this. If they go here, you take queen. If they go here, you're going to take this. Wait a minute. Queen is under threat. If the queen goes here, you have this. They go here. You have this. They go here. Oh, whoa. You have this. They go here. You have this. Somewhere there's got to be something like this. It's a sequence here, but delivers in the end. It's got to be with this one. So queen c8, and you're going to do h6, right? h6. Yeah, they move here, and then you're going to play and take the queen anyway. So if they go here, you're going to do this. They're going to move here. Wait a minute. You could do this. No, come on. Yeah, they're going to play here, and then you're going to play this, and you're going to take the queen, the guy's queen. Okay, it's game over. Game over. Back to Magnus. Game over, that one. Yes. Okay. What did he play? Nothing. Okay, let's see this. Let's see this ending, guys. So looks like Fabi had won against Dingliren today, and looks like Hikaru Nakamura won the Armageddon versus Ali Reza. Okay, and now we are looking at Pragg and Magnus. Big advantage for white. No more checks. How can Magnus survive this if he can? Just a matter of a few more moves. I'm as curious as you guys. He proves to be yet again so resourceful. So resourceful. Someone said queen d1. What? Queen d1 for whom? Oh, you were talking, Vlad, about the previous situation with the previous game, right? Or something. Okay. So apart from a painful rook g8, well, everything's painful for black to play here, that's for sure. But I have to admire his resilience. Magnus's resilience is amazing. His resourcefulness is just astonishing. I mean, I think he suffered the whole game because of the king's position in that Sicilian Khan variation with a6. I think he suffered with the king's position so much. He needs to probably address that opening and finding some better lines. It's so bad having the black king on e8 in this kind of Sicilian they played. And that's the result of it. I'm not sure you're very comfortable with this, having the black pieces. And rook g8, what else? Rook g8, queen b3, and we did say, my friends, I think we did say, yes, rook g8, he played it. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Rook g8. He did play rook g8. As I said, I would play myself out of desperation, really. Okay, if there is a check here, we can all agree that king's going to move on g7. You're not going to move here because it's this. Or maybe you could, because it's you do the crazy pawn advancement. That's for another situation. Now, Pragg's turn. If you check and the guy moves, you definitely don't want to trade. You may just very well lose the game. So you mustn't trade the rooks. Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything's possible. Everything's possible at this stage. Vlad, this is a crazy ending. He got to conduct himself incredibly accurate. Now, this is very exciting and very instructive. So, if check, let's do it again. If check, king can go 3 places. No, yeah, of course, checkmate here. Now, you want to bet? No, you better don't bet because it's d5 is the only move. And I did say that. I did say queen b3. I said that if rook g8 played by black, white's going to do queen b1, queen b3 for queen f7 checkmate. I did say that. I actually did say that many times. And I also said that actually d5 is the move that black must play. There you go. There you go. No engine needed. We guys can see it. d5. And now white needs to figure out other ways. Other ways. That's actually a bloody question. Again, if you go for tradings, it's not going to help white's cause very much here. Rook h7 for checkmate here. He played rook h7 to making space for the queen to deliver checks. How the hell are you going to stop it? You're going to stop it with queen like this? You may. Not that you have a choice or anything. He was quite fast. No, you're getting checkmated on the back rank. You have to play queen d6. My God, you have to play queen d6. No, he just resigned. He just resigned at the stage. If you play queen d6, look, I'm not going to ask the engine, but I think it got to be something here. If you play queen d6, what the heck am I missing? Oh, is this? Is this, man? Is this? It's queen b7. So nothing can save. He found it. He was an accurate guy. He found it. It's queen b7. It's virtually, that's about it. You can't do nothing now. You just can't do nothing now. Queen d6 was the only one. And not even queen d6 can save against queen to b7. And after queen to b7, you can't do anything here. That doesn't work. That doesn't work because there's a check. There literally nothing works at this stage now for white. Nothing works, and nothing works. Yeah, there you go. Just nothing works at this stage. Just nothing works. That's about it. It's checkmate everywhere. You name it. I mean, it's just finished everywhere. You can't. That's about it. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff. Guys, what was the pinnacle? What was the problem? Plus 0.5. White is calling the shots. White is doing the attack and things. Where did the balance get broke? Maybe here. Guys, if you really wonder, if you want to play the Sicilian Khan, so you can play like Magnus, but not the whole game like Magnus, because if you play the whole game like Magnus, you're going to lose. So you're going to have to stop around move number 10. And after h3, you got to consult the strongest engines on the planet and really have a thorough look because b6 doesn't cut it. b6 I understand, but probably you have to investigate knight takes d3, bishop takes bishop e7. I normally very much keen on bishop e7 here because I want to castle quickly, and you just play the game. I'm not keen to take it up. I mean, you could take the bishop, but it's a dead bishop for the time being. You could take the bishop, but it's a bit of a dead bishop. Bishop e7 is great because I want to castle quickly. So if you want to look and play the Sicilian kind, there's nothing wrong, but you mustn't play as Magnus did. b6, okay. f4. I mean, look at the ferocity of the attack. Knight takes d3, queen takes d3, bishop e7. So okay, fair enough. f5. I'm keeping an eye on the best moves here ever. Queen d7 mustn't be the best thing ever. e5. Look at this. So what can I say? He didn't do the homework or something. He missed something on the homework. e5 is actually the stuff Magnus was supposed to play. So the best response, if you're looking at the best response Black should do here, is e5. Not queen d7, plus 0.8. So that's how you do the openings and the Sicilians or whatever you want to play. Ever. You have to do it in this fashion. You got to look for the best move and to understand it and obviously memorize it, and you reproduce it when the time comes. Everything else is horrible for Black. Rook c8, bishop c8, d5, it's horrible. Queen d7 is not great at all. So Magnus didn't play the Khan Sicilian very well. I'm sorry. And Pragg just was like, you know, my God, I think this is the fourth or the fifth time he beats Magnus Carlsen. Not queen d7. Do not play queen d7. You got to play e5. You got to play e5. You kick this knight away. And then you can think about doing rooks or bishops or whatever. But you got to play the e5. You don't play e5, you're going to be in trouble. And that was about it, guys. Okie dokie. Guys, I really do appreciate your presence. That was round number 3. What a wild ride. And the Sicilian Khan, that's fabulous. I think I'm going to do a next video on this one. If you haven't done it, guys, maybe you can sub to my YouTube channel and check on my last videos. And I think I'm going to give you some thought to this particular Sicilian here. We're going to make a video. Thank you, Vlad. Thank you, everyone. David, thank you for subscribing. There was a guy that subscribed and followed. Appreciate very much via Twitch. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with round number 4. Round number 4. And wow, amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff. Cheers, fellas. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow, yeah?